I think one of my favorite stores since I've been here was a little place called Primark. Yeah, I'm convinced nobody goes there to buy anything but just to mess the place up, man.
I was 18 years old. I was going to be the greatest actor in the world. And I was like a little small town kid that came down to Vancouver. And they had this thing called it was like a cattle call for the CBC, casting call. And I went in there and I read beautifully. And I was almost going to be cast on 21 Jump Street way back when. But then this was my first foray into show business when they asked me, so who's my agent? And because I was from a small town, I thought, oh, you guys are going to be my agent. And they go, it doesn't work like that, Tom. You're going to need an agent. So I ended up calling all around, asking people to be my agent. And as you well know, that just doesn't happen. They've never seen me. So I went to a comedy club that night after the thing, and I met a friend of mine who said, Tom, you should really try comedy, man. And he got me on my first amateur night 2 weeks before my 19th birthday, so I was underage. I shouldn't have even been in the goddamn club. And I went on, and I had probably the best time of my life.
The only store I've ever seen where people go, these jeans are like, of course there's 3 pounds!
When I'm coming up with an idea, I don't really think if it's going to go on TV or if it's not going to go on TV. I think, am I laughing really hard at this? Because I'm really good at laughing at my own jokes. And if I find it funny, I know it's funny when I start laughing at it. And if I don't laugh at it and I just see it as clever, it gets put on the back burner because I didn't honestly laugh at it. So everything I've ever written, I have properly laughed at, probably for 10, 15 minutes when I mulled it over in my mind and I keep finding a little different direction for it.
Just 'cause stuff's cheap doesn't mean you gotta chuck it around. Okay, that's why Argos keeps all their stuff in the back, man.
I know most of the people that come to my show. I've been drunk in their houses. I've gone back with audience members. They all, like, if you're a true Tom Stade fan, like, I've got people that have come 8 and 9 times to sometimes when I'm doing the same show, but they've seen like about 4 different shows. But they always know whatever show I'm doing, even though it's the same show, it'll always be a little bit different. So that's their feedback is that they love it. They absolutely love it, or they wouldn't come back 8 and 9 times. And the reason I do that, I've said this many times, because my father was one of the really fantastic people in my life. He was a comedy fan, and I didn't realize I was going to become a comedian, but I listened to all the albums when I was like 7 and 8 years old and stuff. And my dad, I did a show, I was in a Jongleurs, and my dad was still alive at the time, and he got, I was waiting in the back for everybody to leave, and this was before I started doing this, and this is how he changed my mind. He came back, and while I was sitting in the green room, he goes, "What the heck are you doing, Tom?" And I'm going, "I'm waiting for everybody to leave so we can get out here and me and you can go and drink." And he said, "Are you out of your mind?" He goes, "All these people came down here to see you and paid big bucks." And he put it in a real nice way for me. He said, "Tom, what if you went to, say, your favorite band?" At the time, it was Pearl Jam. "What if you went to a Pearl Jam concert, and then after the concert, you got to have a beer and talk to Eddie Vedder, even if it was just to say something that you've wanted to say, to tell him that, oh, when I heard that song, that was the song that me and my lady Trude really hooked up to, and I just want you to know thank you for that." He goes, "Wouldn't that make your experience just a little bit better?" And it hit me like an epiphany that I would never stay in that green room again, and I would go out there and make sure that these guys all these wonderful people that have come to see me would get a picture. Like, I remember being in Wolverhampton, 1,600 people. I walked into that bar and I was there taking pictures with people for about longer than the show was. But it was so much fun. They were passing me around like I was a goddamn football. But you know what? When I get old, they're not going to do that. You know, things only last so long. So I might as well enjoy it while it's going on, because I don't know if they're going to chuck me around like a football when I'm 64.
Because they don't trust you. They're like, don't show it to them. Just show them pictures of the and make sure they're laminated.